Hello there, and welcome back to another video. This week I'm going to be answering some questions. I posted a video on Tuesday asking everyone watching to leave some questions for this video, and I got a lot more than I expected, which makes me really happy. I wanted to do a Q&A because I've reached 3,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for watching. I am beyond honored. I never thought I'd get to this point, so it makes me really happy. And let's just crack straight on into the questions. So the first question was asked by Doodling Cami, and they say, is there a movie/show that whenever you watch it you are instantly inspired? And I would have to say that there's not exactly one kind of movie or show, but a lot of the time an animated movie, How to Train Your Dragon or Rise of the Guardians, that kind of thing, but there's not one that always does the trick. Gemma_180x asks, will you ever do videos where you show your face? I know you draw pictures of yourself though. So the thing with my face reveal is that right now I don't have the technological infrastructure, so I don't really have a camera that I feel would have good quality worth of face capture. I don't really have good lights. I don't really have like a nice sort of place to film if I'm showing my face and stuff. So because of those reasons, I decided that I might as well not show my face until I can confidently present it consistently, which just means that I just won't show my face until I have more of a stable filming setup and like better equipment. Zemma also asked, for a person who's good at drawing but not as good as you, oh thank you, what would you recommend to buy? So there's a couple different things that like artists always need, like a sketchbook and basic pencil eraser, perhaps an ink pen sort of thing. But if you're thinking like if you want to like level up your artwork, I would think a good set of color pencils, maybe Faber-Castell or Prismacolor. Color pencils are really versatile and they would really help you get a handle on leveling up your art. Or if you're planning on getting into the realm of digital artwork, I know that Huion sells some pretty decent pad tablets. My first drawing tablet is a Wacom Intuos tablet that I still use, and then there's a lot of free drawing softwares. I think a free one is Krita. If you want a not so expensive one, Clip Studio goes on sale fairly often, which makes it very affordable. Or I think Photoshop CS3 might also, it might be CS2, but Photoshop something is free to download. So something like that and a $20 to $40 pad tablet might be a good place. And if you've already got all that, then something that would be a little bit nicer perhaps would be a larger tablet or a screen tablet or some markers and stuff like that. And then the last question that Zemma's asking is, what do you use to draw your non-pencil drawings? So I use, for the most part, I use a digital medium, so I use my drawing tablet in Photoshop. If you're asking about traditional stuff, I use things like inking pens, I use color pencils, I use watercolors. So thank you very much, Zemma, for all those questions. The next couple of questions are by Midnight303. So Midnight saying, what's your favorite artist? There's three artists that I would really name my favorites. First one is Shumijin. They go by Shumijin on DeviantArt and on Instagram. They mostly use Instagram now. The second one I want to talk about is also on DeviantArt. I've been looking at, I don't think they have an Instagram. I think they have a Pixiv. Yeah, they have a Pixiv. Their username is INStocky. I'll leave both their links in the description below if you want to check out their art and stuff. And then the last artist I wanted to mention is Monet. They don't really fit in the list as much as the other two anime online digital artists, but I really like Monet's colors and the impressionistic look to his paintings. And then the other question that Midnight asked me is, what is your favorite medium to use for art? And my favorite medium I would have to say is digital art. Next couple questions are from my friend Fantasy Finder, and of course she's starting out with a big one is, will you marry me? And of course, Fana, we've talked about this. The second question that Fana asked me is, do you have commissions open? And yes and no. So I don't have any commission prices listed anywhere that you can find that's like current, but if you want to commission me, send me a message, write me a comment on Twitter or on Instagram. Instagram's also connected to my email. Ask me about it, we can chat, figure something out. The next question Fana's asking me is, what do you have to accomplish to consider yourself a success in life/art/work? To consider myself a success, I would want to have stability, like a stable income, a stable home, a stable life-work balance. So like if I have enough time to do personal projects as well as having a day job. All those sorts of things are on my mind when I think of me becoming a success or not. And then the last question Fun is asking me is kind of with the above question, what is your dream project of accomplishing? And I don't think there's necessarily a singular project that I would think of as a dream. I know that I have ambitions to at some point gather my courage to make some sort of comic or webcomic, and I know that I got a question about that later down the list, but I don't know, I feel like my dream project is something that's recognizable, something that's like acknowledged, something that people would be able to sort of see and think, oh yeah, that's definitely Candy's work, something like that. I think that it's not necessarily a singular project, but it's kind of like an overall goal of my own artistic endeavors. Ulysses Lannis asks some recommendations to draw anatomy correctly. So the biggest recommendation I would have to learning anatomy is to study from reference, and so that can be, you can get like some like drawing models, or you can look at nude models or something like that to learn it. But I did do a video a couple of weeks ago, and I'll leave a link in the card towards it, which explains in quite in depth, I think it was like 17 minutes long, of how I learned to draw anatomy. And then we have Leah D, which is another friend of mine. Actually, the tools that I'm using to do this illustration in this video were gifted to me by Leah D, so shout out to you, thank you very much. And the character I'm drawing also belongs to Leah D. This is Nasika. Surprise, Leah! So her questions are your favourite ways to draw / paint in order, like one being digital media, two being oils and so forth. So she's asking me to do like a tier list. So I say 1 is digital, then 2 goes to ink illustrations, like what I'm doing here, but like with regular inking supplies, not necessarily dip pens. Next goes markers, next goes watercolour / acrylics, because I can't really make up my mind. Next goes pencil crayons, and then we're going into the stuff that I don't like to do, which is charcoal, pastels. Then, is there anything that really inspires you to draw, like a go-to video to watch that gets you pumped? So like is there ever like a movie or a show that gets me really inspired right away? There's not necessarily a singular thing, but I do find myself really inspired to draw when I look at just other art. So scrolling down my Instagram or watching other people on YouTube doing art videos. So people like Draw with Jazza or Drawing with Waffles or Lady J. Whenever I see a video of the process of somebody starting and completing a drawing, I'm like, oh my god, I really want to draw. And then lastly, with a smiley face, and she's asking, have you considered world building? And yes, I have considered taking on a world building project. I plan to take it on as soon as I have a little bit more of a routine going with my creative projects this summer. So my plan of action is to look up a sort of like template, like one thing that gives you like prompts of things you have to consider when world building, fill that out, and then like take it from there, kind of expand on things. I want to do a couple like concept sketches, like scenery, perhaps some characters. Maybe I can like plonk some of the characters I already have into this world that I'm considering building, all that kind of stuff. But it's all very like, I have ideas that I want to, but I haven't really sat down to really think about it. And I know Leah in particular is very excited to hear about it. I'm sorry for making you wait, but it's coming. I'll get to it, I promise. Next up we have RT Angel, and they're asking anatomy tips and motivation tips. So anatomy tips, again, I've got a video that I've linked in the card where I go really in depth, basically is look at references. And then motivation tip, it's hard, it's different from person to person, because a lot of the times some things that inspire somebody else can discourage other people, or they just don't really resonate, stuff like that. So it's really difficult to find something that will inspire everybody. Sometimes if you're looking at just visual stuff, it can not really inspire you to create visual stuff. So maybe you need to read something or hear something or like touch a smell or eat something that will spark a visual idea in your head. Or if not, then you're the opposite, where you do need like visual stimulation to create something visually. So to stay motivated, really, it depends on what you consume, I think, for the bigger part. Another thing that I find that's really motivating is kind of looking at where you used to be compared to where you are now. I feel like that's something that's very empowering. So I really hope that that might be helpful towards you, RT Angel. And next up we have Joznaz, which asks, what is the funniest / worst thing you did when drunk? I have maybe like 2 funny stories. There was this one time where I was at a friend's house and I'd had quite a bit to drink, and then all of a sudden I just started feeling really cold. So I just kind of sat in the couch in between 2 people and sort of said, does anyone want to donate to the Keep Candy Warm Foundation? Just trying to get somebody to come cuddle with me because I was feeling so cold. And then the other one is I drank quite a bit, and I was just with one friend. We were just having like a laugh, and I was feeling a little bit ill, and then my friend had the great idea to give me milk, because she read somewhere that giving somebody who's feeling ill to the stomach would start feeling better if they gave them milk, and it kind of had the opposite effect. Let's say. Yeah, kids, don't drink too much. It's not really all that fun, though it can be a little bit fun. But yeah, I'm sorry if that's not a very adventurous answer. Emily Riddle has a couple questions. First one is, what is your favorite song plus book? I don't really have a particular favorite song, but I do have who I would consider a favorite artist. It's Ed Sheeran. Just his writing style I feel super recognizable to me, and I resonate with it a lot. And for books, I honestly read a lot more fan fiction than I read books, so for original novels, I haven't read too many that are like out of the mainstream, so I'm just going to say Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, and leave it at that. Then what tips do you have for someone who has just started drawing? For someone who has just started drawing, my most important tip I would say is draw what you like. Don't try to bog yourself down too much with improving or comparing yourself, or I need this supply, that supply. Just sort of try to draw what makes you feel happy and enjoy that, and then later focus on the rest. I do have a video on my channel called my top 10 tips for developing artists that has a bit more than that, but I do think the most important one is draw what you like. And then the last question Emily Riddle has is, do you have any pets? If you don't, what pet would you get if you could? I do have a pet. His name is Zed, and he's a golden retriever, and I swear I can make an entire video just on Zed and his little oddities. So let me know if you're interested in that kind of wholesome dog content, because I would be more than happy to make it. Bug also has a couple questions. First one is, what sort of attitude do you have towards life? So pessimistic, optimistic, realistic, opportunistic, etc. So I would consider myself more of an optimistic realist. I do try to look at things as like glass half full, but I also have the life philosophy of hope for the best, expect and prepare for the worst. So don't put all your eggs in the same basket, but do have some level of optimism, because if not, like, what's the point? I feel that a little bit of optimism is always like necessary, but of course being realistic in your expectations will like save your heart in the long run. And then the second question are, what are some must-haves for digital artists? I think the biggest must-have for digital artists is probably a comfortable place to sit. And this is for every sort of art. If you don't have a very comfortable place to sit, you could end up really hurting yourself, like hurting your shoulder, hurting your back, hurting your neck. And it's the kind of thing that might leave lasting damage that you really want to avoid. And besides that, there's not anything that I would really consider an absolute essential. Like if you have some form of, even if it's a trackpad or a mouse, but I would recommend having some form of drawing tablet, any form of drawing program. There's nothing that you can't do. But yeah, there's nothing that I would consider an absolute essential besides a place that you can sit that won't hurt your body. Thank you very much for your questions, Bug. Next up on the list, we have Kirby Spunky asking, will you make art videos when you go on your trip in 2 more weeks? Are you excited? Will you marry the person that just proposed to you down below? Will I be maid of honor? Well, I already told Fana that I wouldn't marry her, and yes, Kirby, of course, you can be maid of honor. I do need to introduce the two of you at some point, and as she revealed just now in this comment, I am going on a trip in 2 weeks, and I'm so excited. I'm going to Japan to actually be with Kirby, and yeah, I'm beyond excited. I'll try, I'm not going to be taking my tripod, so I don't know if any like drawing videos, but I might do some sort of vlog type videos if you guys are interested of what we get up to. I'm just so beyond hyped to go on this trip. It's been in the works for, I think I bought the tickets in January, but I'd been planning to go for like almost a year now. So I'm super excited. Thanks for your questions. Then Rave X Elite asks, when did you start doing art and what got you into it? What other hobbies do you have, and what's your dream life in terms of job, house, studio / setup? So why did I start getting into art? It was because I always liked the act of drawing, but then at one point when I was like 9, I realized that if I look at like a screenshot of my favorite characters and I look at it closely enough, I can replicate it in a way that's recognizable. And just this idea of me being able to produce something that's recognizable kind of really excited me. So yeah, it happened when I was around 9, 8, 10. Other hobbies I have, I play guitar, I read, I play ukulele, and I write a little bit, but not enough to really consider myself a writer. Before I really got into drawing, I thought I would become a writer, but I don't write enough now at this point to consider myself as such. So yeah, for hobbies it's drawing, guitar, reading, writing sort of thing. and my dream life in terms of job, house, studio setup. So I would like to be in a country that's economically stable, and yeah, I guess just something that leaves me with enough time to be able to do me things as well as doing the things that, you know, bring home the bacon sort of thing. I don't really have any specific requirements. Like, I would obviously love to have a job that I can stand, so I don't really see myself doing something like working in a factory or something super physical, like working in a construction site, stuff like that. But things like, I'm in school for advertising, so pretty much anything within the world of marketing and advertising I think I do fairly well. So for home, I'd like a nice open concept apartment with a spacious-ish balcony. That would be the ideal. I would like to have an office where I can have like a filming setup with some good lights to continue to film art videos and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess that's basically what my ideal life would be. Thank you very much for your questions, Ravex Elite. And lastly, up until this point, if there's questions that come in after I'm recording this, I will save them and do them for a future Q&A video. But we have Prism Kid, another good friend of mine. So Kid saying, Cantor, how are you? Please tell us what's going on IRL. IRL right now, I'm out of school. I got back from a trip to Argentina a couple weeks ago. I was born in Argentina, in case you don't know, and it was a really good time. Right now I'm waiting for my trip to Japan. But between then, I'm doing, you know, YouTube videos. I'm also working on a couple freelance client things. Yeah, I'm just living the good life. Then Kid also asked, will you be sharing any of your original characters' stories in some sort of webcomic or other type of form? If so, can you give a few details right now? I'm super interested in seeing and hearing more of your characters and the story/character development. I do hope at some point to do some form of comic. Like, I already have, for example, my character Therese, I already have her story planned out. That I actually just created Therese for the sole purpose of like challenging myself to make a comic out of her, and I still haven't made it. So that's probably the first priority in terms of making it into a consumable media, doing Therese's story. I might do it as an animatic instead of a comic. I still haven't really decided, because I feel like an animatic or a comic are both possible ways to tell a story. For other characters, this connects to the question that Leah asked about world building. So within my world building project, I might include some of my characters, but they're all very like time consuming projects, so I'd have to kind of list them out and take them on one at a time sort of thing. But yeah, they're in the plans for the future, for at some point within my lifetime to get completed. I don't really have anything more concrete. And yeah, as of right now, these are all the questions. I want to thank everyone very, very much for asking them. Thank you very much for watching this video up until now. I hope you enjoyed the illustration that I've been working on in the background. And yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Any more questions for future Q&As, whether you want me to do that Z video or not. And I'll see you all next week.